Hello and welcome to another episode of Colgart's Miniatures. Today I'll be showing you how I made this wrecked sort of cove for Black Seas. I used the cardboard cutouts that came with the Master and Commander set as a template. So I popped them on the foam core, draw an outline and cut them out. And once they're cut out, we just bevel the edges to make it look like it's one with the table. Scraping up any excess I have into my funky little bin box. There he is. And yeah, we can carry on with the build. I used some scrap pieces for the center parts, but they didn't line up quite properly. So next time I make something like this, I'll be taking that into consideration and hopefully doing it a little bit better. Once you're happy with all your cutouts, just stick them on the pieces. They all fit together quite nicely. I use cork for all the boulders and rocks. Now you can use bark or any kind of rock molds you might have. So with the cork, I cut them at a slight angle to make it look like it's jetting out of the water. Once they're all stuck down and you're happy with their positioning, get a bit more glue and sprinkle on some sand. This will just blend the two sort of materials together. Also do this with your layered up areas on the foam core. Once you're happy with everything, make some like indents into the foam for your ships to sit in. I'd recommend doing this before you glue down the sand. But as I said before, I thought of this idea after I put the sand on, so sort of do this motion the other way around here. Make your indents, stick on your things, and then do your boulders. Once everything's sort of stuck down and blended together with all your sand and everything, just hit it with a black base coat. I start off with Vallejo's old wood. I focus this kind of colour on all the areas that are close to the water. So these colours are all going to dry a little bit darker because of the black undercoat. So we're going to just keep layering up until we get the proper shade we like. And just do an overbrush of all the rocks and paint the sea a dark blue colour. I use Kantor blue. Next up I use some castellan green. These are going to be for areas that are touching the waters, between the sand and all the rocks and things, just to emphasise some kind of moss and vegetation. I also paint part of the ship hull this green, because I want it to seem like it's been there for a long time. So for all the waves and water splashes, I'll just keep layering this up with lighter blues. I have Kantor blue and altdorf guard blue. And when we get to the sort of white bits later, we want to do this whilst the blue paint is a little bit wet, just so that we keep blending all these layers together. So for the lighter shades of blue, I'll be painting the areas that are close to the shoreline. For the boulders and all the sort of sands that are sort of close to the centre of the shores and everything, I use eshin grey, and I build up to dawnstone grey. As well, I'll add a little bit of white paint to the dawnstone for that final highlight. For the areas that I've painted Vallejo old wood, I use this like ushabtai, whatever you pronounce it, light brown colour. This will just make the shoreline pop a bit more. So for all the waves and the splashing parts against the shoreline, I'll be using an off-white, which is corax white, and then I'll slowly build up to white scar. Again, you want to do this initial white colour whilst the blue paint is a little bit wet. Like I said before, this will just blend all these shades and all these colours together. I'm just painting all the ships and the masts and everything a generic brown colour, and I want it to all look just a little bit neutral. Whilst we're doing this, we're just going to paint little bits of the sand, little specks of brown. Have a little look at some sort of reference pictures online for what kind of beach you want to sort of create. I really like the look of these sort of rock pebble beaches. Later on, I've been playing a lot of Sea of Thieves lately, and I really like the eshin sort of islands, very sort of volcanic and smoky and dark. So I think I might be making some of that at some point. And as well, for the bits we're going to be flocking, just paint them green, and as well we can go back to any areas where we want to sort of create moss and things. Just doing all the final bits of highlighting now, and to finish off the sort of waves and everything, I use white scar. And again, this will just make things pop, and the contrast between the lighter colours and the vibrant ones and the darker shades, it just really makes the piece look that little bit better. And finally we get to flock. I use the Army Painter basing glue. I feel like this is actually really nice glue, it's very strong. You can use whatever you like to use. The only thing here, I probably went a bit overboard on the moss areas. And as well, if I was going to do that again, I'd use a different shade of green, so it just looks the same as the grass. So, little few lessons learnt whilst making this piece. And there we have it. I'm quite happy how this has turned out. The things I've learnt is that centerpiece, just line up those foam bits a little bit better, as well as where the waves are going to be connecting. But they work really well as just for one edge of the board or even the corners. So next time I'm going to make a sort of the same size piece but larger and with more rocks and mountains kind of things. As well, that's a little mermaid I put on the cork. I forgot to mention that earlier. Again, with that, I should have made like a little indent in the cork and then placed the mermaid in, just to make it look a little bit more realistic. So thank you all again for watching and following me on my journey of scenery making and the Black Seas adventure. It means a lot for all of you that have subscribed already and those who have liked my Instagram and everything. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. It really helps the channel grow, and yeah, thank you again for watching and have an awesome day. See you next time.